Welcome once again to Gilbert and Sullivan Radio Theatre. This is your host, Jerry Tracy, inviting you to join us as we survey all 14 of the comic opera masterpieces of Gilbert and Sullivan in chronological order. Our musical highlights are drawn from the vast radio theater collection.
Wow, that's fast.
And include great recorded classics from the past, as well as modern performances. Our dialogue excerpts feature our own KBCS players. Well, players, we turn today to which one is it? The 13th and next to last collaboration of Gilbert and Sullivan, Utopia Limited, or The Flowers of Progress. And it would seem that 13 was not exactly a lucky number for Gilbert and Sullivan. Yes, Gary, I'm trying to give the introduction here, if you don't mind.
The station says you're not supposed to do that anymore.
I'm not supposed to give the introduction?
Right. They've hired some news person, and they can't find anything else for her to do, and so...
So the station says she gets to read the introduction stuff.
I never heard anything of that sort.
And here's the tape we're supposed to plug into now.
All right, no one said anything to me about any tape or anything of the sort.
Yeah, so we don't be needing your services for a while.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon?
For a long while.
I'm the host here.
We're lucky now.
Pop in that tape, Penny.
But
Here it goes.
This is Ashley Jordan reporting for KBCS News, Farm Report, and Gilbert and Sullivan Plot Summary. I'm speaking to you from a dank, sorry-looking little excuse for a studio where a ragtag group of lunch-hour John Reeds and doily card wannabes, calling themselves the KBCS Players, are sluggishly preparing to tape their version of one of the least memorable of the largely forgotten Victorian-era operettas of librettist William Schwenk Gilbert and composer Arthur Seymour Sullivan. After the opening of the hugely successful operetta The Gondoliers in 1889, Messrs. Gilbert and Sullivan quarreled and went on their separate ways for 4 crucial years. Sullivan produced his now obscure grand opera Ivanhoe, no relation to the 1950s British television series of the same name, which nearly ruined impresario Richard Doyleycart and which failed to foster a native English opera tradition, Sullivan being, after all, Irish. Gilbert enjoyed somewhat more success in comic collaboration with composer Alfred Sellier, the Montbanks. Their next work, Utopia Limited, roughly translatable as Utopia Limited, opened at London's decaying Savoy Theatre on October 7, 1893, and ran for a disappointing 245 performances, one of the shortest in what the small coterie of half-crazed aficionados refer to reverently as the canon. Utopia Limited has proven hopelessly expensive to stage, and is far beyond the vocal skills of the sort of amateur tenors and sopranos who people small-town Gilbert and Sullivan societies, and who incidentally largely comprise the KBCS Players here, and consequently is almost never performed today. With the usual superficially clever plot overview in song, set to one of the opera's justly forgotten tunes, here is station hack Leon Dwerpo and a friend. This is Ashley Jordan reporting for KBCS. A news tradition, good day.
First to last you've kindly let us give you most Savoy operettas. Now there's not much left but this one. On the whole we'd rather miss one, for Utopia Limited strikes us all as dim-witted. Flowers of progress, stiffs, or some such singing tunes that no one hums much. Boring quips on times Victorian, better left to an historian. With a plot that doesn't flow, not a very snappy show. Slow, 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 slow. But despite our pain and hurtin', we'll get through it, that's for certain. With aplomb, we'll do this bomb. And at the end we'll draw the curtain. But despite our pain and hurtin', we'll get through it, that's for certain. With aplomb we'll do this bomb. And at the end we'll draw the curtain. Well, we certainly welcome Ms. Jordan to KBCS. Look forward to many interests. Well, enough said on that point. The Act 1 curtain rises to discover a utopian...
Jerry, she also did a tape on that, too.
Another tape.
Roll tape 2.
Rolling.
From our poor vantage point in the cramped, dimly lit KBCS studio, we see the rather grimy An apparently rarely lubricated Act One curtain rise to discover a utopian palm grove filled in the gardens of King Paramount's palace with bird-filled palm trees. Chirp, 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 caw, caw, and the sea in the distance swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The utopian maidens, such as they are, lay lazily about the stage, snore, and thoroughly enjoy themselves in lotus-eating fashion, slurp, slurp. As we hear the opening chorus in lazy languor motionless, this is Ashley Jordan for KBCS, a news tradition. Good day.
His Majesty's eldest daughter, Princess Zara, who left our shores 5 years ago since to go to England. You know, the greatest, the most powerful, the wisest country in the world, has taken a high degree at Girton and is on her way home again. Having achieved a complete mastery over all the elements that have tended to raise that glorious country to her present preeminent position among civilized nations.
Then in a few months, Utopia may hope to be completely anglicized.
Absolutely and without a doubt.
We are all very well as we are. Life without a care, every want supplied by a kind and fatherly monarch who, despot though he be, has no other thought than to make his people happy. What have we to gain by the great change that is in store for us? What have we to gain?
Tarara, the public exploder, enters in a great rage.
I beg! I'm surprised at you. Are you not aware that His Majesty, in his despotic acquiescence, with the emphatic wish of his people, has ordered that the Utopian language shall be banished from his court, and that all communication shall henceforward be made in the English tongue?
Yes, I'm perfectly aware of it, although...
He suddenly presents Calyx with the string of an explosive cracker.
Stop. Allow me.
She pulls it.
Now, what was that for?
Why, I've recently been appointed public exploder to His Majesty, and as I'm constitutionally nervous, I must accustom myself by degree to the startling nature of my duties. Thank you. I was about to say that although as public exploder I am next in succession to the throne, I nevertheless do my best to fall in with the royal decree.
Oh, you do?
But when I am overmastered by an indignant sense of overwhelming wrong, as I am now, I slip into my native tongue without knowing it. I am told that in the language of that great and pure nation, strong expressions do not exist. Consequently, when I want to let off steam, I have no alternative but to say,
But what is your grievance?
This. By our Constitution, we are governed by a despot, who, although in theory absolute, is in practice nothing of the kind, being watched day and night by two wise men, whose duty it is on his very first lapse from public or societal propriety to denounce him to me, the public exploder, and it then becomes my duty to blow up His Majesty with dynamite. Allow me.
Once again, he presents a cracker, which, for some reason, Calyx pulls again.
Thank you. And at some compensation to my wounded feelings, I would reign in his stead.
Yes. After many unhappy experiments in the direction of an ideal republic, it was found that what may be described as a despotism tempered.
Calyx, we think Calyx has in mind despotism. She continues.
Despotism. Thank you.
Right.
Tempered by dynamite provides, on the whole, the most satisfactory description of ruler. An autocrat who dares not abuse his autocratic power.
That's the theory. But in practice, how does it act? Now, do you ever happen to see the palace keeper?
Never even heard of the journal.
I'm not surprised, because His Majesty's agents always buy up the whole edition. But I have an aunt in the publishing company, and she has supplied me with a copy. Now, it actually teems with circumstantially convincing details of the king's abominable immoralities. If this high-class journal may be believed, His Majesty is one of the most pompous, obnoxious profligates that ever graced an autocratic throne. And do these wise men denounce him to me? Not a bit of it. They wink at his immoralities. Under the circumstances, I really think I am justified in exclaiming, la 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 kawana hee.
That's it!
I don't care. The occasion demands it.
And with that, Terrara the public exploder exits. There is a march, and the guard enter, escorting the two wise men, Scaphio and Fantis. All exit except for the two wise men, Scaphio and Fantis. Fantis is pensive.
Fantis, you're not in your customary exuberant spirits. What's wrong?
Scaphio, I think you once told me that you have never loved.
Never. I thank heaven I have never been subjected to its singular fascination. For, oh, Fantis, there is that within me which tells me that when my time does come, the convulsion will be tremendous. When I love, it will be with the accumulated fervor of 66 years. But I have an ideal, a semi-transparent being filled with inorganic pink jelly, and I have never yet seen the woman who approaches within measurable distance of it. All are opaque, opaque, opaque.
Keep that ideal firmly before you, and love not until you find her. Though but 55, I am an old campaigner in the battlefields of love, and believe me, it is better to be as you are, heart-free and happy, than as I am, eternally racked with doubting agonies. Scaphio, the Princess Zara returns from England today.
My poor boy, I see it all.
Oh, Scaphio, she is so beautiful. Ah, you smile, for you've never seen her. She sailed for England 3 months before you took office.
Now tell me, is your affection requited?
I do not know. I'm not sure. Sometimes I think it is, and then come these torturing doubts. I feel sure that she does not regard me with absolute indifference, for she could never look at me without having to go to bed with a sick headache.
That's something. Come, take heart, boy. You are young and beautiful. What more could maiden want?
Then you will assist me in this?
Why, surely, silly one. What have you to fear? We have but to say the word, and her father must consent.
Let all your doubts take wing. Our influence is great. If paramount a king presume to hesitate. Of course it does, of course it does. It dignifies unselfishness. Of course it does, of course it does. Unselfishness.
The king remains on stage, a bit confused.
I requested Scaphio and Fantis to be so good as to favor me with an audience this morning.
And at that very moment, Scaphio and Fantis enter.
Oh, yes, there they are.
Your Majesty wished to speak with us, I believe.
Yes.
You needn't keep your crown on our account, you know.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
And King Paramount removes
I
his crown.
always forget that. Odd. The notion of a king not being allowed to wear one of his own crowns in the presence of two of his own subjects.
Yes, bizarre, isn't it?
Most quaint. But then it's a quaint world.
Teams with quiet fun. I often think of what a lucky thing it is that you are blessed with such a keen sense of humor.
Do you know I find it invaluable? Do what I will, I cannot help looking at the humorous side of things. Oh, yes, for properly considered, everything does have its humorous side. Oh, why, even the palace peeper. Oh, why, see here, oh, another royal scandal by Junius Jr. Oh, and this one. How long is this to last, by Senex Senior?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Ribald Royalty by Mercury Major. Oh, wait. Where is the Public Exploder by Mephistopheles Minor? Oh, when I reflect that all these outrageous attacks on my morality are written by me at your request, Well, it's one of the funniest things that have come within the scope of my experience.
Besides, apart from that, they have a quiet humor all their own, which is simply irresistible.
Not bad, I think. Not bad. Biting, trenchant sarcasm. Why, the rapier, not the bludgeon. Oh, that's my line. Oh, but then it's so easy. I'm such a good subject. A bad king, but a good subject.
Very good joke.
Oh, what a capital heading for next week's leading article. Just a moment, let me write that down. Oh, and the stinging little paragraphs about our royal goings-on with our royal second housemaid, eh? Oh, delicately sub-acid, are they not?
Oh, my dear king, in that kind of thing, no one can hold a candle to you.
But the crowning joke is the comic opera you've written for us, King Tuppence, or a good deal less than half a sovereign, in which the celebrated English tenor Mr. Wilkinson burlesques your personal appearance and gives grotesque imitations to your royal peculiarities. It's immense.
Well, yes. Well, that is what I wanted to speak to you about. Now, I've not the least doubt but that even that has its humorous side, too. If one could only see it. Oh. As a rule, I'm pretty quick at determining latent humor, but I confess I do not quite see where it comes in this particular instance. It's so horribly personal.
Personal? Yes, of course it's personal. But consider the antithetical humor of the situation.
Oh, yes. Wait, now, what? No, I don't think I've quite grasped that.
No, you surprise me. Why, consider, during the day, thousands tremble at your frown. During the night, from 8 to 11, thousands roar at it. During the day, your most arbitrary pronouncements are received by your subjects with abject submission. During the night, they shout with joy at your most terrible decrees.
Oh, that is true.
It's not every monarch who enjoys the privilege of undoing at night all the despotic absurdities he's committed during the day.
Of course, now I do see it. Thank you so very much. I was sure it did have its humorous side. Oh, and it was very dull of me not to have seen it before. But, as I said just now, it's a quaint world.
Teams with quiet fun.
Oh, yes, properly considered. What a fast life is, to be sure.
First you're born and I'll be bound to fight. I'll go the way you hit the nail, and if you fail, the deuce is in it.
At the end of the trio, Scaffio and Fantis dance off. King Paramount remains. The Lady Sophie enters.
My monarch is soliloquizing. I will withdraw.
No, pray don't go. Now, I'll give you 50 chances, and you won't guess whom I was thinking of.
Alas, sir, I know too well. Oh, King, it's an old story, and one I'm well nigh weary of it. Be warned in time. From my heart I pity you, but I am not for you.
She begins to leave.
But here, listen to what I have to say.
It is useless. Listen. In the course of a long and adventurous career in the principal European courts, it has been revealed to me that I unconsciously exercise a weird and a supernatural fascination over all crowned heads. So irresistible is this singular property that there is not a European monarch who has not implored me, with tears in his eyes, to quit his kingdom and take my fatal charms elsewhere. As time was getting on, it occurred to me that by descending several pegs in the scale of respectability, I might qualify your majesty for my hand. Actuated by this humane motive and happening to possess respectability enough for 6, I consented to confer respectability enough for 4 upon your 2 younger daughters. But although I have, alas, only respectability enough for 2 left, there is, as I gather from the public press of this country, a considerable balance in my favor.
She produces the palace peeper.
May I ask how you came by this?
It was handed to me by the officer who holds the position of public exploder to your imperial majesty.
And surely, Madam Sophie, surely you are not so unjust as to place any faith in the irresponsible gabble of just a society press.
I read, on the authority of Senex Senior, that your majesty has seen dancing with your second housemaid on the oriental platform of the Tivoli Gardens. That is untrue?
Absolutely. Our second housemaid has only one leg.
How do you know that?
Lord Common Reporter, I give you my honor.
It may be so. I further read, and the statement is vouched for by no less an authority than Mephistopheles Minor, that your majesty indulges in a bath of hot rum punch every morning. I trust I do not lay myself open to the charge of displaying an indelicate curiosity as to the mysteries of the royal dressing room when I ask if there is any foundation for this statement.
None whatever. When our medical advisor exhibits rum punch, it is as a remedy, not as a fermentation. As to our bath, our valet plays the garden hose upon us every morning.
Oh, pray, spare me these unseemly details. Well, you are a despot.
Yes.
Have you taken steps to slay this scribbler?
No, I've not gone quite so far as that. Well, after all, it is the poor devil's living, you know.
It is the poor devil's living that surprises me. If this man lies, there is no recognized punishment that is sufficiently terrible for him.
That's it, precisely. Waiting, yes, until a punishment is discovered that will exactly meet the enormity of the case. I'm in constant communication with the Mikado of Japan. Yes, he's a leading authority on such points. Moreover, I have the ground plans and sectional elevations of several capital punishments in my desk at this very moment. Lady Sophie, as you are powerful, be merciful.
Well, we thank you once again for joining us and hope you enjoyed this episode of Utopia Limited, or The Flowers of Progress. Our thanks as well to the talented KBCS players. Steve Smith portrayed King Paramount the First, the King of Utopia. Penelope Ricopoulos was Scaphio. Dan Reinking Fantis, our villains. Gary Jones was Tarara, the Public Exploder. Deidre Kilgore portrayed Calinx, the Utopian Vice Chamberlain. Jeff Hogan portrayed Lord Dromelay and also Captain Fitzbattleaxe, and very well too. As Mr. Goldberry, we heard Jerry Tracy. As Princess Zara, Meredith Hunt. Deidre Kilgore and Deanne Odom portrayed the young princesses, Nakaya and Kaliba. And Janet Smith portrayed the Lady Sophie. We certainly thank you for listening once again and invite you to join us next episode.